So the concept of property management is not new. People are always familiar with what a building manager does, but what does an individual apartment or townhouse manager do? Today on Managing Manhattan, we have the best guest in the industry, my own team. We're here today with Jacob Ruzecki, our head of property management, and Sean Rafferty, one of our property managers. Welcome to Managing Manhattan, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Great. So this is going to be a great episode. We're going to learn exactly about what, people call me all the time, like, what is it that you do? And if you're in the know, you know, but a lot of people are like, how can I use you? What do I need you for? So we're going to answer all those questions for our audience at home today. So I'm excited to do this with you guys. So Jake, we'll start with you. Everyone knows what a property manager does for a building. They collect rent, they pay expenses, they deal with maintenance and repair. But Excel has a very unique business model. We manage for owners that live in their apartments or townhouses, either full-time or part-time. Can you tell us more, like, what exactly does Excel do for its clients?
Yeah, of course. Like you said, this could be a lot of our clients, their secondary residents, not necessarily their primary. So, we do everything from, inspecting the home to make sure all their mechanical items are good, whether that's the boiler, HVAC, AV. Along with that, we complete, the weekly inspections bi-weekly to ensure, all those things are up to date. But along with that, right now we're in the seasonal change. So we're doing, spring turn-ons, we're doing cleanings of the backyard. So besides the everyday items that, we're kind of inspecting or checking on our outside projects. But, in the winter, it can change from we have a pipe burst to making sure the heat works. It's pretty much, there's nothing we don't do. And then, kind of along with that, we'll have owners come back and want a new kitchen or, just painting. So a lot of capital improvements are just everyday, renovations, but there's really nothing we really don't do, which makes us, really special. And I think there's a lot of trust with our clients. As I said, this is sometimes not their primary residency. So I think it's, a weight off their back to have us, in their home constantly.
Absolutely. And Sean, what do you have to add to that?
Yeah, I feel like we really take a lot of the thought out of property management for the owners, take a lot off their shoulders. A lot of them just don't necessarily know everything that needs to be done, and we kind of
or even want to know, right?
Yeah.
They just, here's my house. I want to show up. I want to use it. I want everything working, and I want to leave, and I really don't want to hear about it again.
Yeah, we really do it all, from as little as just checking the mail during inspections to, like Jake said, bigger renovations like new kitchens and etc. So.
Yeah. It's funny, Excel actually started managing these properties not intentionally. So we'd kind of gotten a few pied-à-terre properties / owner-occupied properties before the pandemic. And then when everybody fled the city during the pandemic for, Miami or Aspen or the Hamptons or wherever they went, a lot of our clients called us and like, hey, I know you'll manage my rental properties, but could you also take my own home? I'm not going to be here. Someone's got to let the gardener in to make sure my plants don't die. Yep. I have elevator inspections that are continuing to go, and also just keep an eye on it.
Yeah, it's an expensive asset to leave set alone.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You can't leave your $20 million house just sitting there vacant, especially during those days. There was lots of stories of squatters and vandalism. I remember in the height of the pandemic, I'd wake up after curfew ended, because for a brief period of time, we actually had a curfew in New York. Yeah. And I'd wake up at 5 a.m., I'd get on my bike, and I'd go tour all of our properties throughout the city just to make sure we didn't have broken windows or anything of that nature. So that was really kind of the birthplace of Excel and why we're here. Mm-hmm. But it's, it's designed to be a fully encompassing effort for any item within your house. So there's
customizable too.
And customizable. Some people want to do more. Some people want to do less. Some people want to co-manage with us, which is probably our least favorite activity. Let us do it. We'll end up a lot better. Yeah. I remember I actually saw a meme one time, and it was like, the price of you let them do it was like, cutting the grass or something. It was like $100 if you let us do it. If you want to participate, we're going to charge you $200 simply because it becomes a lot of getting in the way and tripping over.
Yeah. Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Exactly.
You can't have it. It just makes a big mess. Jake, what are the most common requests you get? So we know we're doing mandatory inspections. We know we're overseeing service contracts, but where are you seeing more calls than...
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned, during the different seasons, right now we're getting a lot of landscapers in there. Obviously, flowers have died. We got a lot of power washing, which is fun. But I would say, a main component of, our day-to-day calls are either the AV system doesn't work. We have these insane systems where, one system controlling lights and the TV, the other controls the shades. So we get a lot of calls about that. And then obviously our favorite thing in the winter, we'll have a pipe burst here and there. And, I think we've all experienced the worst of that. We've walked in and it's like a rainforest almost. It's I can't even explain it.
We were so lucky up to this winter, and I guess this was a bizarrely
worst
cold
one.
winter where it was 0 degrees for multiple days in a row.
Yeah.
I think company wide, in a world where normally we have like 1, maybe 2 pipe bursts a year, I think we had like more than 10 this season, and that's not exactly what an owner wants. Luckily, they were all minor. We caught them all quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was not a fun season.
Never a great sight to walk
it's
into a
rough.
$30 million townhouse and see like all the walls just flooding. So
rough
it's
winter.
it's
Absolutely.
you
No,
just gotta you stand there numb, but
it's devastating. And then, when we take over properties, like, oh, I had a big insurance claim, and you'll see like $1 million claim on their policy. It's like, what happened? Like, the cleaning lady forgot to turn the heat on when she
Exactly.
left for the weekend. So no, we're here to catch all of those things.
Yeah.
And what about you, Sean? What are you seeing more common than others?
I mean, seasonally right now, it's a lot of HVAC, doing a lot of HVAC maintenance and trying to figure out problems where a lot of times we don't have access in New York. It's a big issue across the board. HVAC is big, like Jake said. Landscaping right now is huge. Everybody wants to come visit their home now that it's warm out. New York City comes alive this time of year, finally. So a lot of HVAC, a lot of outdoor cleaning, windows, power washing, the whole 9 yards, roof work, a lot of everything to get us ready for summer.
Oh, yeah. And now we're getting all the rain this season, so we start to see all the roof leaks. And probably the gardening is the toughest one because now it's that hot cold where it gets down to 32 degrees at night and you don't want to burst the pipe, but also you don't want the azaleas or whatever they are to die.
I think for us, like that stress level too of like we prep the home all year. Obviously, we maintain it. Like, obviously, we're in there all the time, but for some reason, when some of our owners come, like the HVAC
That
just won't
seems to
turn
be
on.
when things like go
Yeah,
wrong.
when
It's
everything-
Oh, that's only when it happens.
Yeah.
Everything ran perfectly until the minute you walked in the door, and all of a sudden the Wi-Fi is not working, and you're upset about that because you've got to Zoom in 10 minutes, and we've got to figure out how to
We're
do
running
that.
around manically trying to figure it all out, get it resolved.
Yeah, the Saturday night call at like 11:30 that the TV's not turning on or something is always a blast. But that's what we're here for.
Yeah, we always come out on top.
We do.
We get it done. We get it. Sometimes it's a little messier than we want, but we always get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
When we first started Excel Real Property Management 11 years ago, we did so with the intention of protecting the investment community. Here at XL Real Property Management, we focus specifically on serving the needs of individual apartments, townhouse, and small multifamily building owners both in Manhattan and select neighborhoods of Brooklyn. Our services encompass everything: rent collection, expense payment, handling maintenance and repair, turnover between tenants, insurance needs. Literally anything that an investor would typically handle him or herself, we take care of for them. Whether you hold one individual apartment or a rental building that houses 20 units, Excel is here to help with all of your specific needs.
Looking to stage a property but on a tight budget and timeline? Stage with Stage and Fold. Stylish, lightweight, foldable, 3D printed cardboard furniture that looks real. Quick delivery and easy assembly. Staging starts at just $199 a month per room, and setup takes less than 30 minutes. Contact us today to stage smarter, sell faster, save thousands with Stage and Fold.
Great. And we're back with my own team, Sean Rafferty and Jake Ruzecki from XL Real Property Management. So here's a fun question I have for both of you. What's the craziest story that you've seen so far, or the wackiest thing that's happened? I know when I first started Excel, we were managing for a client, and she got sick while she was here in New York, and she's like, I have to go back home, which was in Europe, and I have no one to take me, and literally had me fly with her back to Europe to drop her off at home, make sure she got into her apartment okay. And that's when we first started Excel. And I'm like, wait, I thought I was managing property. I didn't realize I was going to be a companion for flights, although she did fly me first class. So it was an incredible experience. So what's the craziest thing or craziest request you've gotten from a client since you've been at Excel?
Yeah, I think obviously in the last 5 years we've had a lot, but I think looking back, you and I had one together. We had a new client. Uptown, he was an avid, collector, like sports, particularly F1 and sports racing. So I remember going through the house. Oh, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And he was mentioning that he was bidding on, an old Ferrari F1 car. We're like, oh, like, that's great. Like, where are you going to, like, put that? He's like, I want to put it on the ceiling. We're like, and if you always say yes. I'm sitting there at, 9 o'clock in the morning, still freezing from the walk. And I
No
was
problem.
like,
we'll hang a car from your ceiling.
Dylan's like, oh, yeah, we'll just get that done. And I was like, oh, I'm looking at that from an instructional engineer to the designers to, we would have had to crate it in pieces and then hang it up, just logistic nightmare. But I think that was, among other things that we've dealt with, that's probably one of my favorite ones.
But how cool would that have been to see, like, literally walk into someone's living room? It's like, oh, when most people have, like, some rinky-dink chandelier, you have, like, a multi-million-dollar sports car just dangling above you.
I think, it's good to know that, our clients are in good hands and we'll say pretty much yes to everything. There's really nothing we can't do, which is great.
There's nothing we can't do. We've proven it many times. What about you, Sean? You've been with us for a couple of years. What's the craziest thing you've seen so far at Excel?
Well, it's hard to beat Jacob's statement piece, but, one more recent, I would say around Christmas time, we had a client that decided they were going to come the week of Christmas last minute, and they needed a full Christmas tree set up in their living room. No details. They don't have any ornaments or anything ready. I've never set up anybody's Christmas tree besides my own growing up, but we ended up finding a vendor and had a tree installed, only for them to be there for a couple days just to enjoy Christmas and take it down immediately after.
And I remember they gave us like no time to do this. They called us like literally the day before they're arriving, and they're like, "Oh, my kids want to have Christmas, and we don't have a tree.
Yeah.
We're coming to New York tomorrow. Can you make sure that we have a tree to open presents under?"
And I'd never realized how expensive trees are in New York City until this time.
Yeah. I remember seeing that invoice too, or the estimate. It was like, do you want it with decorations or like without? And it was
we did it all. We did it.
Do you want the fake presents? But yeah, Sean got it done.
No, we definitely learned a lot about like pricing in a world where like I grew up in Atlanta and like a regular house and like some of these
New York's
bills.
very skewed.
It's skewed. It's skewed. They're definitely getting the
People
quality.
come here and they're shocked at the prices, and like we're just so used to it now. Don't question it.
Exactly.
Well, hopefully we have this new administration. They're going to make things more affordable, I'm told, but so far that hasn't happened. But maybe next year things will be more affordable. We'll see if that's actually going to happen. But no, we're all about fulfilling immediate requests and whatever clients need pertaining to their house, we're here to do. Whether it's grab milk for the baby or we need a race car hung from the ceiling. All these fun tasks that we get to handle on a daily basis. Yeah. Now I have another question. We see a lot of disasters, and one thing that we always try to do is educate the community. I spend a lot of time speaking to anyone who will listen to me about what to watch out for when you're buying a property. What do you think what could someone do to prepare themselves when they're purchasing an asset? And what are the pitfalls? Like, where are people running into trouble and they're hiring us to say, like, hey, I need you to help me with this? What should be done before they buy the house?
Yeah, I would say a big thing that I think we are dealing with right now, and in years past, buying the house, not getting all the proper documents in the plans, especially mechanical plans. Obviously, HVAC is a big thing right now. If we don't know where ductwork is or certain things of the system, we're going to have to break walls. That's just like how it is. And obviously, if you buy a new apartment or a townhouse, is the last thing you want to hear after, especially some of these properties we just renovated, we have to get in and break a wall. So we'd always advise on getting all the plans you can. I know, I've been working with the DOB a lot to pull a lot of mechanical plans and drawings just to do this alone. But, sometimes I don't have that, and then we have to conduct surveys. So it will save, not only us, but, your future home a big headache.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is open the house. I know we're working on a project out in Brooklyn where, unfortunately, the builder cut a few corners they probably shouldn't have cut. Yeah. And what's that process been like? I mean,
it's been tough. The owners have not been loving the AC in their house or the heat. But
the water pressure, or the plumbing,
a lot of issues. We could go on and on.
Lack of valves, or the.
We're getting there. I mean, I was actually there this morning, and we're working on an air balance to try to correct some of the issues and help develop our plan for next steps. So we're getting there slowly but surely. We'll get to the end of it.
Absolutely. And I think the most basic thing anyone should do is get an inspection of your house before you purchase it. You want to make sure that it was built well. Bring a qualified inspector in to check everything to make sure your systems are working properly. We have an infinite number of assignments that we get awarded, and then you go in and you realize the HVAC is not working. Yeah. And not only is it not working, it's not working because it was poorly designed, and it will never work the way you want it to. Exactly. And then we have to call you and say, hey, by the way, we're going to need, $200,000 to completely redo this. We have a big client uptown on the Upper West Side who, that was another fiasco where nobody checked the AC, nobody did any inspection whatsoever. And now all of a sudden, and it's a very large apartment with a very sophisticated system. And you have to call them and literally be like, hey, we're going to need a couple of $100,000 to redo this. And they're like, oh, can we just put, what's a cheaper solution?
Yeah.
And in some cases there are, in some cases they're not.
Yeah.
We're almost done with that project. That should be done hopefully today.
Oh, wow. And
So
that only
yeah.
took a year and a half for us to do.
Yeah, besides
with all the
mechanical plans,
complexity.
obviously very fitting with New York. Just if you want a pool, maybe don't buy one here. Like, that's the biggest thing.
Should that be sound advice that we're giving
Yeah.
people? Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to buy an asset, be careful of the pool,
Yeah.
the
The pool.
jacuzzi,
Wait for the suburbs,
the cold
do that.
plum.
Yeah.
Just go to
Anything that has
Equinox.
water, yeah.
Yeah.
Go to a gym, get the
Yeah.
suburb house, but like definitely not in the city.
Because between the equipment not working properly or the humidity issue it causes when you have a pool in the basement, like you can't win.
Or a leak or just anything.
So if you are looking to buy a new property in the city, whether it's a
Advising
full-time
is a
or
pool.
part-time, pools are great. They're best in the backyard. They're best in the basement of Equinox.
Very well said.
And
yeah.
not necessarily on the rooftop of your
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. I wish we had a Carfax for houses. They
Yeah.
could just pull up
Oh yeah, so we know all the
Like the
problems
history.
and all the leaks,
Yeah, all
and
the history of
an
it all.
inspector would actually catch some of that.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, great. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to Managing Manhattan. We'll see you next time.
What do you really need to know about buying or selling a home? First, it's serious business. And it's complicated. There's a lot of money on the table, and emotion too. You need an agent who knows the ropes. So, whether you're buying or selling your home, work with professionals who have a mastery of the craft.